The movie begins in a port where a doctor named Dr. Gardner watches over the transport of containers. At New Orleans at 3 a.m., a man named Biggie is talking to some locals about a product that he will give them for free and they could sell it. A man named Newt asks Biggie what is it, which he answers by introducing the drug named Power. For 5 minutes, the users will have the power that the pill has. Then, we hear 911 reports about different incidents, involving people manifesting some kind of unnatural abilities, also known as superpowers. 6 weeks later, 2 young men meet with Robin, a power pill dealer. They try to trick her by bringing the third guy and assaulting her when a cop shows up. Frank, the cop, points his gun at them, but a man stands and is about to take the pill. Frank dares him to take it, warning him of the possible consequences. When the man hesitates, Frank quickly snatches the pill out of his hand. He then let the young men go. It turns out that Robin and Frank are friends. Frank buys a power pill from Robin, stating that he needs to be on par with criminals using one. The scene changes to a man named Art, listening to his car's radio news about people with powers. He then takes out a paper with a drawing and the name Newt on it. Arriving at a tenement, he locates Newt's apartment. Knocking on his door, an anxious Newt answers the door. Newt makes a phone call confirming Art's identity when he sneaks inside the apartment. Inside, he finds the gun at him, but Newt runs and takes a pill. Newt becomes a man engulfed in fire and chases Art. When the effect of the pill starts to fade, Newt takes more. After seeing what an old woman do to Newt, Art had an idea and fights Newt in the bathroom. There, he manages to push him to the tub filled with water. Art gets the upper hand and starts questioning Newt. Although he tries to fight back, Newt still gives up and tells Art about Biggie. But before Art could even ask more questions, Newt winces in pain and explodes. Luckily, Art manages to avoid a direct explosion, but the impact sends him flying. We then see a flashback of him in an accident where his daughter was taken away. In Robin's home, her mother is watching the news about the incident at Newt's place. Newt and Robin are cousins. Her mother asks Robin to check on Newt. Robin then goes to school. Meanwhile, after attending to his wounds, Art checks Newt's phone that he got earlier when he receives a message from Robin. Pretended to be Newt and replied to her. It turns out that Robin gets her power pills from Newt. The two then set up a meeting. Unfortunately, Robin's teacher catches her using a phone and not listening to class. He tells her that she's already failing her class and asks her about her plans in life. Robin can't answer, but her friend says she's rapping. Asks her to rap and if he likes it, he'll give her a C. Her friend starts beatboxing and she is killing every rap and rhyme, and when she drops the beat and the B word, everybody cheers for her. But it's just her imagination. In reality, she didn't even speak a single word. Frank responds to a bank robbery incident. Even though they're told to be the support, he still sneaks his way to the back of the bank. He takes a pill, starts the timer, and goes straight inside the bank. Not seeing Frank and quickly runs away. Frank chases after him. He successfully catches the man, but he got his gun and shoots him. After the incident, Frank's captain asks him if he uses the pill. When he justice system and how the law deals with people using power pills. In the newspaper cutout picture of Art, saying that he is the source of the power pill. Meanwhile, Art is still waiting for Robin. He arrives, he waits outside and suddenly grabs her, putting her in the back of his pickup truck. Art drives away and parks in a secluded place. He then interrogates a scared Robin. Threatening her mother's life, Robin says and does whatever Art wants. Afterward, we see Biggie talking to Dr. Gardner about their current transaction. Frank, on the other hand, receives a message from Robin asking for help, but Art sees her using her phone and he confiscates it. He then made her make a phone call to the supplier to meet with him. The two reach the destination and Art orders Robin to talk to the supplier. He follows her, but he gets distracted by another customer and loses sight of her. Meanwhile, Robin tells the supplier about Art and the man quickly takes a pill, orders Robin to stay inside and faces Art. The man along with other guards fights with Art and he manages to take them all down, but gets shot in the process. Art opens the door and sees Tracy, his daughter, in Robin. He then discovers a room wherein they monitor the pill distribution. He also realizes that he doesn't have much time left before they distribute the pills outside New Orleans. Robin takes the chance. Supplier attacks her. Luckily, Art follows her and kills the man. He then offers Robin money in exchange for helping him. Meanwhile, Frank arrives at Robin's house and finds two men questioning Robin's mother, Mrs. Riley, about Robin's whereabouts. He then quickly acts. Sneaking inside the house, he pretends to be the mother's boyfriend and questions the legibility of the two men who introduce themselves as cops. As soon as the two men leave, he quickly looks for duct tape, but Mrs. Riley questions his identity. After assuring his relationship with Robin, Mrs. Riley gives him the tape and he quickly runs after the men's car and attaches Mrs. Riley's phone. The scene changes to Robin attending to Art's wounds. They then talk about why Robin sells drugs, the drugs, and life. The two share a friendly, almost father-daughter moment. Robin then bargains to Art that she'll help him more in exchange for money, to which Art agrees. While driving, Art hallucinates and sees the moments of their accident before, where his daughter was taken away. When they reach their destination, where the demonstration of the power pill is happening. Inside, Biggie is explaining the source of the abilities from the power pill, which is the animal's use. Outside, Robin finds Frank and the two talk. When Frank asks about Art, Robin doesn't want to tell on him, and the two argue. Back inside, Art manages to kill one of the guards and silently approaches Biggie, but another guest sees the body of the guard that Art killed and screams. This alerts everyone and Art hostages Biggie. One man takes a pill, but he explodes and this causes a distraction, and a shootout occurs. After taking everyone one by one, Art finds Biggie and questions him about the whereabouts of his daughter. Frank then arrives and attempts to arrest Art, but he manages to steal the gun from him. Biggie takes this chance to take a pill and he turns into a giant muscular man. Biggie chases them, and Robin, who follows after them, is shocked to see Biggie. Art thinks fast and leaks out the gas and shoots one of the tanks, causing an explosion and killing Biggie. Outside, Frank arrests Art, and Robin is frustrated with him. She tries to reason with Art, but he also tells her to go home. Frustrated, Robin leaves, but she sees one of the men that Art is looking for and decides to follow him. Meanwhile, Frank informs the captain that he already got Art. While driving, the two talk, and Art warns Frank about what's going to happen. He also tells him that the power pill is being tested in New Orleans because the people behind it have the authorities under control. In the end, the two decides to team up. Art purposely gets himself captured while Frank escapes. Back to Robin, she followed the man's car to a port where the Genesis is. This is the ship that Biggie says where all the operation takes place. Frank then finds Robin snooping. She tells him they got Art, and Frank informs her that they already planned this out. Frank then goes inside while Robin acts as a lookout, but Frank is shot by the guards. Luckily, he takes the pill that makes him bulletproof. Robin, on the other hand, sneaks inside a van that is later brought to the ship. Meanwhile, Art meets with Dr. Gardner. He pisses her off and she orders her men to take Art out. Back to Frank and Robin, they accidentally meet at the operations room. They then see Art being taken. They devise a plan wherein Frank will go after Art while Robin will operate the doors and cameras for him. Setting off the alarm, Frank sets off while Robin locks herself in the room. Hearing the alarm, Dr. Gardner orders Wallace to check the cause of the alarm. Wallace then sets off, and after not receiving a response from the operations room, he knows something is wrong. Taking a pill, he punches his way through the operations room. Robin sees this and informs Frank of her situation and that she also found Tracy, but their connection is starting to malfunction. Not knowing that a soldier is already following him, Frank continues. Having no choice, Robin uses the mic to warn Frank. The soldier then attacks him. The two fight and Frank wins. Robin, on the other hand, manages to escape before Wallace enters the room and makes her way to where Tracy is. Dr. Gardner gives out her instructions to her men, and orders Wallace to finish off Art. When the captain notifies her that they're ready to go, Dr. Gardner orders the captain to sail down where Art is. He talks to a guard about the strongest animal on the planet. Threatening that he'll turn into that, the guard releases him when Wallace arrives. The two are about to fight when Frank arrives and points a gun at Wallace. Wallace punches Frank, but he's able to toss the gun to Art, in which he immediately fires at Wallace, killing him. They quickly get to the bow, where Art finally reunites with his daughter. After a moment with Tracy, the four look for a lifeboat, when a soldier that has taken a pill chases after them. The soldier attacks from above and Art fights him. He tells the three to go first, but Robin goes in a different direction to help him. Frank and Tracy, on the other hand, are being fired by other soldiers. Back to Robin, she helps Art, and with one last maneuver, Art uses the soldier's bone and stabs him on it. He then orders Robin to meet him at the lifeboat, but she's tackled by a soldier on her way. When Art arrives at the lifeboat, Dr. Gardner shows up, holding Robin hostage. She wants to trade her for Tracy. Inside the lifeboat, Art decides to take the pill and bring Robin back. Tracy worries about him because it might cost his life, but he's determined to do it. He also tells Frank to escape if anything goes wrong. He then steps out of the lifeboat, and he is surrounded by soldiers. Warning Dr. Gardner for the last time, Art takes the pill and gets the power of the pistol shrimp. Using the rainwater as his weapon, he splashes it around, killing every soldier and Dr. Gardner. Robin, on the other hand, successfully evades Art's attack. After his time runs out, Art collapses on the ground. Robin quickly attends to him, when Tracy arrives. Tracy uses her powers and heals his father, bringing it back to life. Bringing Art inside the lifeboat, the four escape. The next morning, Art and Frank talk about their plans, wherein Frank would blow the whistle, and Art would settle with his daughter. Afterward, Art approaches Robin and bids goodbye to her, reminding her that she has a gift, her power. Picking up the bag from Art's pickup truck, Robin goes home to her mother. The movie ends with Art and Tracy driving while listening to the radio that plays Robin's single,